Rock and roll, man. Hello and welcome to a special presentation and celebration. Quite recently, my Hall of Information blog surpassed 1,000 followers, which to me is a milestone I never thought I'd ever see. And after nearly 10 years, things are looking good. But for peace of mind, and for those thinking of starting a blog, it didn't take 10 years for it to be a success, because for some time now, I've averaged a good amount of views. In fact, over 1,000 views a month for about 3 years. So to me, it's already a partial success. But let us dive into this special celebratory post about all things blogging, with a hope this can help you. So if I were to define blogging, it would be as follows. And this is taken from my guidebook, Consistent Creative Content. To speak and ramble incessantly without interruption is just one of the many definitions I use for blogging. It's an opportunity to create your own corner of the internet and speak about whatever subject you wish. Blogging is a great outlet to extend your personality or to be someone else entirely, while it can also be the home to your very own brand. So branding and your very own home on the internet are kind of the two major things that blogging brings to the table. Now, having a presence on the social media platforms is good, but sometimes they are subject to change and trends and come in and out of fashion. All it takes is for one major scandal and then one of these platforms kind of disappears or goes out of favor. But having a blog or a website is kind of fixed and it can stand the test of time. And well, my Hall of Information blog is kind of proof of that, considering I started it in 2013. Now, my inspirations into blogging came through research so many years ago. Whilst I was starting this journey and dipping my toes into social media and querying, I read an awesome guidebook called Self-Printed by an Irish author called Catherine Ryan Howard, who has had a lot of success with her books and blog. And this all started from her self-publishing journey and putting a blog together. And the book laid out the fact that no matter what, you're going to need a regular online presence for any level of following, growth, and success. If you want regular book sales, you want regular follows, you want interaction with people, you want people to come to you for something, they want to view your content, you're going to need content. And blogging kind of ticks that box. And my blogging effort is essentially a web page that I built up over the years where I write my thoughts, my reviews, my experiences, and my guides mainly. It's been a great medium for me, and it's a great medium for published and non-published authors, as well as content creators, and as a place to express yourself and release regular stuff. Now, to me, a book is a once-a-year holiday like Christmas, but blogging is every weekend in that sense, if you were to look at it like the calendar year. It keeps the presents ticking along. So what exactly does one blog about? It's pretty much unlimited in terms of medium, and some of you probably already know what you're doing and what to blog about. From video to audio and of course text. Mine is mainly text. The only audio stuff I've really branched out to is on here. But these days I'll put one of the following out on my blog regularly. A book review, a guide or experience, a weekly ramble diary style post, or some guest material. I did used to put out a lot more, but my focus has kind of been spread wider in terms of doing Patreon stuff, Twitter stuff, blog stuff. Before it used to just be predominantly blog stuff, and my blog was probably my number one platform for many years until Twitter kind of exploded and took over. So I kind of spread my content out now in different platforms. But my big tip is to be regular. Once or twice a week is optimum for any blogger at any level, but you put a few more posts out, you probably get a few more views. But as long as you are regular, eventually readers will start tuning into your blog. It really is based upon how much you put in. Example, I can draw from my statistics. In the year 2017, I published just 17 blog posts, and I got about 1,400 blog views that year, the whole 12 months. In 2019, I published 139 blog posts. As you can tell, there's a huge number there, a huge uptick in content, and I got over 9,000 views. So it really is a time and content-based deal. And you have to ask yourself, what experiences can you comfortably write about that could help others, or at least try to help others? What kind of thing could you pass on that could give value? That's kind of where things started to turn for me. Reviewing books was a big one, along with the guides that I put out on there, and it's a great way to get traffic to a blog. Now, any type of review is good for that. It could be a food review, it could be a service review, it could be a good or bad experience, it could be a film review, a television review. And now another huge factor of why my blog gets a lot of views is that I have a lot of posts that are evergreen. Now this term means that they take a while to go out of fashion or get old. They stay trendy for a while. A lot of my guides are kind of like that. I've got quite a good guide, which is a list of book promotion sites that regularly gets 100 or so views whenever I post it on social media, whenever I share it on social media. Reviews are kind of in that evergreen bracket, but the guides or an experience get a lot of views every time I share them. So for anyone in the social media content creating world, I'd highly recommend you start a blog. It's a great tool to run parallel with your social media presence, and of course any products or services you may have available online. For the authors in the room, I basically highlighted my journey to being published on my blog, from walking away from querying, deciding to self and indie publish, all the way to release, everything in between. And like much of the internet, it seems like you're shouting into a void, but eventually that will get results if you keep going. And even if you don't get huge numbers, it's all about it being in the eye of the beholder, really, and looking at gradual progress over years. And sometimes just shouting into that void is a good way to de-stress about things. And we all know in writing, practice really helps. So blogging kind of does that also. It kind of flexes those writing muscles in maybe a different way. You know, you might be a fantasy author, you might be a historic romance author, but then if you're writing something that's more like a guide, non-fiction, you're kind of dipping into a different part of the creative side of your writing. Now, over the years, I've had some good moments that have stemmed from my blogging efforts. I mean, firstly, reviewing books has given me content and risen my profile significantly, while also kind of making me well read. You know, I really enjoy reading, and I enjoy discovering books and supporting the writing community. But I've also made some good money from it. Now, this has never been about money for me. Okay? This was kind of unexpected as well, because, I mean, this isn't my day job, and I don't go looking to make money on this. The only reason a lot of this stuff on Patreon is behind a paywall is because I want it to have an exclusive home. The idea has never been to make a huge amount of money from it. But on a number of occasions, I've been approached to publish guest content for a fee, and that was easy money. And it was content that was similar to what I already put out anyway. It was put together as a guide or whatever, as a guest post. Now, I have been approached also by a publisher who initially was looking for a review. Now, so book reviews have put me in the shop window here, put me in the window opportunity here, but also this publisher mentioned that they were accepting queries. And after some back and forth conversation, which was very positive, I wrote a book specifically for this publisher, and they did then kind of persuade me to query. But after some time, unfortunately, they rejected me. But that book, known as Last Outlaw, is something I'm proud of creating, and that all came from my blogging. So, to conclude, having 1,000 followers is essentially a 1,000 strong mailing list of people from all over the world, from Argentina to Zimbabwe, and near enough everywhere else that has internet access. And that's how I see it. So every week without fail, I'll think of something to give my audience. Blogging has been an important and almost timeless pillar of my efforts as a creative. From guides to selling and marketing books to even a post about avoiding scams to simply just how my week has been and so much more. Blogging has kept me and my writing afloat for many years and has been inspired by the following I now have. Good things can come from blogging, and it all starts with you and your words. Now for some more specific blogging resources, I recommend you check out my guidebook, Consistent Creative Content, which has a whole host of blogging resources from the basics, content ideas, what a blog post should look like. And for anyone that does follow my Hall of Information blog, there is more content coming. Peace out. Rock and roll, man.